right now. Oh man. Yeah. Right here. All right. Yeah, I just finally I had to do it today. There, I had to go to the nearby design place at the mall, and I spoke about doing this, and I just tweeted out today. I finally made me my own shirt.
There you go.
All right. Yeah. So somebody mentioned it last Saturday on Ken's program. There, you know what? I was thinking about it for a while. I decided, you know what? Today I'm going to do it. It's on Twitter right now. But I wanted to check it out, and believe me, you will enjoy it there. I can't wait to see what Ken's response going to be when he sees it there.
I'm intrigued. I'll have to go to Twitter after we get done here.
Absolutely, there. You don't really post on Twitter, do you?
I don't post much.
Hmm.
Very little. In fact, I don't even think I have any followers.
Oh, well, you. Well, hopefully, hopefully, after doing these shows, you'll probably get some there. You need to definitely start tweeting out things out there, what's going on with your life, what's going on here. Advertising our show. I usually advertise our show, promote it before I go on the air earlier that day, whether it's this program or a Real Select TV or the Dirty Brown Eye Drama Show, which I was hoping to do tonight, but sadly, Minnesota is not feeling that well, so we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully, either tomorrow night or later this week there. Because there's a few things I want to discuss. I know he wanted to bring up something that he brought to my attention this past Saturday morning, and a couple other things I want to bring up just as well there. And one of the things I want to bring up, and I am not surprised that they did this. I tweeted it out, even showed it. I even posted on Facebook there. You know, there was a bit when WWE was still doing the Thunderdome thing there
Right.
before they went back to the live crowds. They had Charlotte Flair with a crutch on her left side there, acting like she had an injured leg when there was no bandages or boots. Just her in her high heels and glitzy dress there. Then her opponent Rhea Ripley comes out with a crutch. She's acting more like she has a busted knee than more than Charlotte Flair was. Turns out both were faking it, and they start striking each other with the crutches. And
Yeah, that's
somebody,
kind of.
yeah, but here's the keen part. I'm not surprised that I figured they would do this, so I'm not surprised they turned the crutches into lightsabers.
Wow.
No surprise right there because there is a channel called Immersion FX, I think it's called, where they add lightsabers to everything, whether it's Game of Thrones, John Wick, or King Kong, um, or the Lord of the Rings, or the Hobbit. Any sword they have it becomes a lightsaber.
Well, if you ever get hold of Ashley, well, I forgot the name.
I'm still waiting for her to
That's
reply to
something we
my
can discuss with her.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm still waiting for her reply to my message on the Twitter there last week there. I'm hoping that soon that she'll probably be streaming soon so I could be in her chat, ask her if she'll be available,
Yeah, you
because she
can
often
you can
streams
also
on
mention that if you have me involved, I go
absolutely there. I'll
way
probably I'll
back.
probably I'll probably tweet that out later on today when we're doing with this program here. Hey Ash, let's do a show together about wrestling. Arknolia wants to come along, dude. You know,
And
let's hopefully.
mention, that I have been watching it since the 60s.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you have a lot more of what all the people out there today know. And I'm going to say it, and I tweeted it out. I said it on Ken's program, and I'll definitely say it here. Without a doubt, this past weekend didn't belong to the WWE. It belonged to CM Punk, proper baby. If you ever saw the pop that he got for the audience in his hometown of Chicago this past Monday, check it out. It is beyond phenomenal. Beyond phenomenal, folks. Believe me.
Did he actually do something or he just came
Well,
out?
he came out, addressed the crowd, and I guess next week he's gonna be wrestling Sting in the next AEW event there. I guess
Hmm.
the next televised event. They have two shows, Dark Dynamite, and Rampage. That debut for that show was when CM Punk came out, and I guess the next Rampage, which I guess they're going to do live or taped or whichever, they're going to have CM Punk wrestling Sting. Because
Yeah,
later on during the promo, Sting and Darby Allin was up in the way high in the rapids. I was just watching them from far above.
kind of reminiscent of the WCW thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. But then again, you got to give it up to actually Scott Hall because he came up with that idea for Sting being the Crow, the kind of like the V for Vendetta type of character.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, like I pretty much quit watching wrestling totally about 2 years ago. Other than I kind of look at some of the reviews and stuff, and
Yeah.
if something intrigues me, I'll find it on YouTube.
Yeah, that's true. There, that's how I usually am. Sometimes, on Facebook, the video files there, they'll put out the clips from the Ruthless Aggression era, Attitude era, or
Yeah,
before recently, or something that happened recently, not too long ago. But it's about 3 or 4 minutes or 15 minutes, But that'll be enough for me because watching a 3-hour Raw with all these, so-called competitors, which really don't really do nothing for me, just ain't my cup of tea, let alone my the brand of beer there.
yeah.
So it's just my and with the business practices that's been going on within the WWE, it makes perfect sense why everybody's saying fuck this product. I'm going with AEW.
Well, there's not even that many people doing that.
I don't know. Well, either way, I guess it was officially announced that Adam Cole may not be joining WWE. I guess there was contracts talk between him and Vinny Whack, but I guess he decided passed on it. I guess he's been feeling disgruntled with that company with all the major cuts going on there. He figured, I'd probably most likely with my luck, I'll probably be signed to a multi-million-dollar contract and then let go 3 months later there because of these so-called budget cuts.
Yeah,
And for even though they apparently made tons and tons of money during the pandemic last year there.
yeah. Hey, we're discussing wrestling. What are we doing?
I know, but I will say, um, Adam Cole's, lady love, Dr. Britt Baker, who is in AEW. She's like, baby, and everyone's in us. We're supplying that. It's good to have Adam Cole and AEW because there are those two are an item there. So maybe we'll probably see something happen there. We'll have to wait and see. I just hope Tony Khan runs his promotion 20 times better and makes the right choices and the right decisions other than what Eric Bischoff, Jim Hurd, Vince Russo, and everyone else who ran that company known as WCW did in the past there.
Yeah, but none of it's as good as the old days, even
I know
AEW.
that's true.
But
I know, yeah. You watch the old Georgia Championship Wrestling. Wow, there was a different time era there. That's for sure. There was a lot of pure rage in the wrestlers' voices and faces when they went off on one another there.
yeah, it seemed real, even though we all knew it wasn't. But at
Yeah, no,
least
exactly.
they put on a good show and made it seem
Yeah,
it
I
was real.
did. Yes, and I guess you could say that people, all the traditionalists are complaining that all the kayfabe is gone. Everybody knows they're not like that in real life, but that takes away the mystique. That takes away the excitement. They have a point when they speak those words there.
Yeah,
Okay, so
on
what's
with the
our
show.
80s? Yeah, on with our 80s music countdown here. Now we're
We're,
going in alphabetical order here with the artists and bands that we're doing here, and
I'm
of
in
course,
I'm in the H's, and
ages.
again I'll mention that not all of these artists of the '80s. Some of them I wasn't sure. That's just where I put them. Uh,
That's why I'm here to help correct that.
right.
If you're 80s, 90s, 50s, 60s, 70s,
Well, I won't go that far back.
I know, yeah, but
'70s
but
maybe.
because I remember because there was a couple people from the 60s and 50s there that did kind of made it big again in the 80s there. Roy Orbison was one of them.
Well, yeah, but I knew he was '50s and '60s.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and
I
let's
was a
not forget
fan.
Yeah, let's also not forget Dion releasing that
Right.
album. I guess it was in '88. I guess it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll start. And we're going to start with an ambiguous one because I don't know where he belongs.
Okay.
Herbie Hancock. And
Oh
I know he did
boy.
something in the 80s, but I think he also
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
did stuff
yeah,
in
he
the
did that.
60s and 70s.
Yes. Well, yeah, he's a. For those who don't remember who he was, he is a jazz keyboard player. He helped in to release a lot of jazz
Didn't
related
wasn't that
projects
song
there
he
in the
did in the
albums like
80s?
Plus Rocket.
Rocket. Yeah, that was the one I was thinking of.
Yes, Rocket. That was one of the big jams back in the day. There, it came from an album I guess was called Future Shock, and that
Pretty good
video and
video.
the track it's yes and the video and the track.
You there? Uh,
What's
did
wrong?
you go away? No, there you go.
No, no, I'm still here. There.
Okay, you went into a submarine for a minute.
Oh, okay. There. I don't know what happened there. So Skype fucking up again. Anyways, that song "Rocket" was one of the big tunes for the breakdancing crowd there. Anytime that song would come out and play on, everybody be getting on the floor and breakdancing and all that shit. And he did a unique performance on the Saturday Night Live. They had this one DJ who had all these effects pedals while he was scratching the record there. He would have a wah wah pedal, a couple of echo effects. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, man. Man, that was unbelievable. And they tried to do, of course, that's a suggestion of his record label. He tried to repeat the same thing, but it didn't work out, unfortunately. Now, he won a Grammy not too long ago, a couple of years back, for this record he did. He also released a compilation inside of a glass, I guess, clear plastic square. I
Huh.
guess you could say it's about 9 or 10 CDs in them. I guess it was.
You want to
Mhm.
shout out?
Go ahead.
It's the Costanza showed up.
It's Constanza. Yes. What up, Constanza? I see you. You probably saw my tweet earlier today with what I'm talking about. I know I had to do it, man. I just had to do it. I've been wanting to do it for a while. I had to say there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to look for that.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, and Herbie Hancock, he's still around. He's still doing his thing there. Much credit to him. And let's also not forget he was the one who composed the soundtrack to the first Death Wish movie, and I guess it was in '76. It was, I believe, it came out.
Yeah, did he do Beverly Hills Cop or was that somebody else?
No, that was Harold Faltermeyer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he did that song Axel F.
Yeah, it was similar.
Yeah, pretty similar to that, but but then again, you often do that. That's how it is. You usually have to
Well,
have their own
yeah.
follow-ups coming there. You know how it is.
Yeah, somebody does something that's successful, all the other record companies and producers say, do something just like that song.
Yeah, like for example, you remember New Edition when they were a four-piece before they got Johnny Gill into the group there? They were a four-piece after Bobby Brown left, and Capitol Records started coming up with their own little version of New Edition, the four-piece there, with a group called 4x4, four young teenagers
Right.
singing all the songs, the peas to the get the little girl so good.
Real rash, and I'll call it a rash, of boy bands back in the 80s. Oh no, you went in the submarine again. Ooh.
Boys with all this the NSYNC, and
Yeah,
plus all these other companies had to come up with groups like O Town or No Authority. Like, what
New
kind of
Kids
name
on the
is that for a
Block.
boy band? Well, New Kids on the Block were the one who had started it back then,
Yeah.
in the '90s there.
Yeah, they
Oh
even had an
gosh,
episode of South Park. I kind of made fun of the whole thing.
yeah, Finger Bang.
Yeah,
That was the name of the group. Man, I remember watching that, and made a lot of sense there.
yeah. Yeah, I don't see somehow how those guys get away with some of the stuff they do, but I'm glad they do.
Yeah, no, I'm glad we need, and the kids be today need to see some of those episodes back then,
Yep.
without getting upset.
Yeah.
I haven't watched any episodes of South Park, since the passing of my girlfriend back in 2001. It just didn't seem right because we would watch an episode of South Park before we head out to a club called the Labyrinth, which was downtown Detroit. She was living in East Point. I was living in Roseville at that time. So we would head down there in each other's cars at time, her car or my car, and we would head out to there, see the head would have some good music playing there, this and that. It was like a Saturday evening ritual.
Yeah.
Yep.
And to be honest, I just catch the occasional episode, and a lot of times it's the reruns on Comedy Central
Yeah. Yeah.
during the
Mostly
day.
mostly it was the reruns on Saturday night because it was first broadcasted on Wednesday night while I was
Right.
at work, so I wasn't able to check that out. So we have to wait till Saturday evening at 10 p.m. Eastern to check it out there. Me and Nancy would.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to our countdown here, or a list of artists.
Yeah, we got through one in 10 minutes.
Yep,
Okay, let's go with Honey Drippers.
Honeyed. Oh my goodness.
I
Oh
think they
man.
were one hit, and Robert Plant, of course. But
Yeah, Robert Plant. Yes, Robert Plant, Jeff Beck, and Jimmy Page.
but
Two ex-Yardbirders and two ex-members of the Yardbirds and two ex-members of the new Led Zeppelin. It was the EP that they put out called basically paying tribute to the artists and groups that they grew up as kids.
yeah, and I love their version of Sea Cruise,
See You Love, yeah,
Sea of Love.
that was phenomenal. That got played on every station, every soft rock station
Yeah, it
out
was a
there. I mean,
great
like
version.
it was like a great version and a great video just as well there.
Yeah,
I
but
believe.
I would loved if they'd done more, but they
Yeah,
really didn't do a lot.
I know. It was just that one EP. I guess it was called Volume Three. It was. They also had a follow up called Good Rockin' Tonight. I think it was. It had the horn section and everything there.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the next one that I nearly got to a little early is Human League.
Oh yeah. Human League there.
Don't you want me, baby?
Oh gosh. You know what? There were what that's that group and that song helped bring in the techno pop, synth pop songs of all the acts from the 1980s. When that song made it big, all the other record labels start searching all over the globe, usually in the UK there,
Which
for a
is
tech
the way it seems to work.
group. Yep, it's absolutely. One of the acts they was able to pick up was a group called Heaven 17, which was made up of a couple ex-members of the Human League. They also picked up Soft Cell with their version of Tainted Love,
Yeah.
which is still played on the soft rock circuits now and then. Along with, and when I remember they did their version with that, and they mixed in "Where Did Our Love Go"
Right.
by the Supremes into one song there. One of those double songs, I guess you call it there.
Yeah. And those also keep feeling fascination.
Oh yeah, of course Mirror Man as well.
Yeah.
hmm
I mean,
That
they
was
were interesting, and I liked one song for sure.
yeah. When I found out, I tried playing that song "Don't You Want Me" on guitar a couple of times there, and when I think about it,
Well, it's
when
funny
I
because
think
a lot
about
of the songs from the 80s weren't that easy.
I know, yeah. Well, you still let alone play on guitar there. And when we were found out that it wasn't even it was a drum machine instead of actual drums, we were like, really? Wow, interesting there.
The
But
only
again,
problem with the drum machine is it seems to, well, it generally plays the same repetitive thing.
that's
It
yeah, it is.
rarely changes.
Yeah, now and then they often have to add in little fake cymbals here and there, little
Yeah.
this and that there. Have to add these little tom toms there. Like they did with the other artists, R&B acts like Luther Vandross here and there.
Yeah,
Could to
one
make it
group I was in, we actually used a fake drum
a drum
machine
machine. Yeah.
because there's only three of us.
I see there. So I guess in time on time. Bleh, let me. I'm getting tongue tied. Time would go on. They would start to improve the drum machine rhythms and patterns by adding more things into them.
Oh yeah, this particular drum machine that the guy had a ton of sounds or
Yeah.
beats, whatever. I don't know what that
Yes.
stuff's called.
I don't know rhythm, the beat patterns. I guess it was.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But man,
Yeah.
that machine was loaded.
Yeah. I would love to have me a drum machine to when I could create some stuff on my so when the next time I'd come up with the original techno stream. But the thing is, it'd have to be on the computer here. But the thing is, I have to have directions on how to run the damn thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Oh,
I have to wait and see, I guess.
yeah. Next one I got is well, we're going to jump to the eyes for
All
another
right.
pretty big group, In Excess.
Oh my goodness! Wow. Rest
You
in peace,
wonder,
Michael Hutchins.
you wonder what that group would have done had he survived.
I know.
They were
Sadly,
from Australia, weren't they?
yes, they were. Yeah, they were part of the down under acts that came from that country, along with Men at Work, Midnight Oil,
Yeah,
Angel City, as they were called here in the states. They're back home. They were known as just the Angels.
right. But we already had an angel group.
Yeah, I know. Yep. Yeah.
Greg
Well,
Chief,
this one was just either the Angels or Angel City.
right?
Yes, and they were more hard driven rock and roll than what the other acts that we mentioned there.
Yeah, Angel
In
was actually. I think we talked about him.
Yeah, but this is different. The
Right,
Angel is American. This is Australia. They're talking Angel City here
right, right.
in the States. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Angel was, and they had this one, they had good songs like Night Attack, albums like 2 Minute Warning, which was a pretty damn good record to listen to.
Yeah, I'm not all that
But In
familiar with.
Excess, you got to give them credit. They had that one video called The One Thing, which kind of made a lot of noise there. They had that classic song "No Change," which I loved the video for. Me and one of our next door neighbors who played the drums, we often jammed to that. Was just him and I there.
The one video I remember real well that I liked a lot was the obvious homage to Bob Dylan.
Hmm.
I forgot what the song was, but he's
Was it
standing
the
there doing
that
the
was
placard
yeah,
thing.
that was yes, the "Need You to Tonight" and "Meditate," I think it was called. Two tracks mixed into one there.
Yeah, but I mean, I
Yeah,
like that because it's an obvious homage to Bob Dylan's Subterranean
obviously,
Homesick
yes,
Blues.
correct. Yes, it was a good thing they did that because I think that's on the I don't know if that's was on the original Kick album or what it was, but it would be a bit bummer if they didn't do that or just separated the two because those two went together hand in
Yeah,
hand
there are
so
some songs
perfectly.
that you have to play both of them, and
Yes.
that was a case of that.
Yeah, same thing with that Journey song, double song there, and the Led Zeppelin's well-known double tracks there.
Well, I know the Journey one. Actually, there were two of them,
Absolutely, yeah. And the
but
same thing with
not.
Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, Living, Loving. No,
Heartbreaker, Living Mother,
yeah,
Loving
that.
Maid, and
Yeah,
for Journey it was Loving, Touching, Squeezing, City of the Angels.
yeah, and then Anytime That You Want Me, and what
No,
was
no,
the other song
no, it
again?
was Feeling That Way
Yeah,
and
Feeling
Anytime.
That Way,
Yes.
and Anytime That You Want Me. I mean, those songs shouldn't be played separately. And another one, Oddball, that you probably don't know,
Hmm.
is Joni Mitchell had a song called Trouble Child and followed it with something called Twisted. Those two
Ah,
songs should be played together,
I see there.
but YouTube has them separated for some reason.
That's YouTube for you.
Yeah. Uh,
And it's just still what happened with In Excess. I mean, like after Hutchison died, they
they they had a
when they
television show for a while.
yes, Rockstar In Excess, where they were auditioning different singers to be their front man.
Yeah.
They finally found their front man. They put out an album, album called Switch. They had a song, they had a video for the song called Pretty Vegas, I think it was called there. I'm not too
Yeah,
sure, but it ain't pretty. But the vibe and the feel was not there no more.
yeah. I mean, Hutchins was essentially a
He
group.
was he was a unique frontman. He was a unique individual there.
Yeah, I had watched some of the episodes of that show and actually found it kind of intriguing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but it's sad that they were not able to recapture that moment, those that success they had, what they had with Michael Hutchins,
Yeah.
because and deep down there, they're probably bitter as hell at Hutchins for whatever he did that caused him to lose his life there. I know.
Well, it was a thing. There's some kind of, I guess, sex act out there where you're
Yeah,
supposed to choke yourself till you,
shoot your load.
right. And he went too far and
I
accidentally
know.
killed himself.
It's kind of funny. Women often this do that as well. Choke me while you're banging me, and so they've said that a few times. I'm sorry, I can never choke anyone while I'm doing them.
Well,
I can
no, I
kiss them on the
mean,
neck,
that just
but
doesn't simply make any sense
no,
at all.
no, it doesn't because it sounds because that to me crosses into the line of physical abuse.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Are you going to jump on me later? Yeah, I don't know. You don't. No, we don't do that sort of thing.
No,
Sorry.
I don't. I'm sorry. I'm too much of a gentleman when it comes to my gals.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
moving on
needless to
there.
say, NXS had a small amount of time had a
Oh yeah.
substantial catalog.
They had a song called what was it called? What was it called? Original Sin. And Daryl Hall from All Hall Notes then sang up back up on that track there, if you remember.
Yeah,
And plus he also had songs like Double Inside, had other songs
yeah,
like, Suicide Blonde.
yeah. You could. I theoretically could have made a list.
Yeah. Listen Like Thieves, This Time, And what was that other one? The thing with
Yeah, I was
this
trying to
time.
remember the early one on the
Oh
first.
yeah, What You Need. Yes, that was
Yeah,
the one they still play on the loudspeaker at my workplace there.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So moving on.
Well, the next one I had is doesn't fit anything we're talking about, and I guess they're still going. I don't know. Iron Maiden.
Oh fuck yeah. They just put out a new album.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, and I guess I don't know if they're going to be touring pretty soon there, but me and my best friend Dennis. Excuse me there. Sorry about that. Me and my best friend Dennis were big Maiden heads back in the day.
I like
It's
some of
for
their stuff, but I never became a devout fan. I mean, I liked
Oh
it, but
man.
I
Oh man, there was when I saw them back in 2019 when they played the Cynthia Woods Pavilion in September of that year. There was members of an Iron Maiden Texas branch fan club there. I met and hung out with a couple of them there. One of them is on my friends friends list there, and it was a bash. They had little giveaways here. I still got
yeah,
a little wristband with a tour in 2009, 19 there. That was a giveaway. Couple of I had some of their Trooper beer while I was at that place. This was the Goose's Acre near the Woodlands Mall there.
wow,
It was a nice little spot there. I also where I got to meet the guy who did their album covers, Derek
mm,
Riggs. It's on my channel there right now still.
oh,
Yes, and plus, you got to give this group massive amounts of credit. They're still kicking it. They're
yeah,
still filling
yeah,
arenas. They're still doing festivals. They're playing all around the world. They're still putting out albums. They own, and which by the way, they own the rights to.
yeah, which is kind of unusual.
Well, but it's also unique because they have total control of their own material, which is what to me every artist should have as well. The others being, of course, Pink Floyd, John Mellencamp, Bruce Springsteen, King Crimson, and I guess a
Zep,
couple others. What again?
Zep.
Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin?
Didn't they have Control?
No. I guess what they have, I guess it's still property of Atlantic Records.
No, but I mean, they had control of their product. Atlantic
So big
didn't tell them what to play
Atlanta.
or
I
Swan
guess,
Song.
oh yeah, with that one song, I don't know.
No, Swan Song was the label they did. I don't remember when they picked up that label. It was their own label.
Well, they started that label, I guess, in the early '75, and the record that came out under that was Physical Graffiti, all the way up to Into the Outdoor. Couple other than that, they also had a band called Detective. They had Dave Edmonds on that
Wasn't
label
Bad
for a
Company
while.
on that?
Yes, it was. Yes, they were. And they were also managed by the Zeppelin's manager, Peter Grant,
Yeah.
who, much to everyone's credit, was a badass when it came to protecting his artists there.
Yeah. What was that manager that Stones had for a while?
Alan Klein,
Yeah,
yeah,
that everybody kind of like, after they had him for a while, it's like, no, we don't want this guy.
yeah.
Didn't he have
Apparently,
that for a while?
no, that was no. The guy who had Zeppelin was Peter Grant.
Right,
He was
right. I
he
knew
was a
that, but
bouncer and a one-time pro wrestler. He was this big heavy dude that nobody fucked with twice.
right.
And apparently, what it was is that he had witnessed many ways managers, promoters, agents fucked over many bands that played in the various clubs and
Yeah,
this
we
and
could
that.
almost do a show on that.
Absolutely, there. And he vowed never to let that happen to his boys there. And he made sure of that.
Yeah,
There was a scene in The Song Remains the Same where Grant is giving lip to this one person over, I guess, I'm not too sure what it was, but either way, the guy was feeling a little like, oh, yeah, I failed you, Peter. I'm sorry. He had that look on his face as he walked away, speechless there.
yeah, yeah.
And apparently, here's another story here I've ever found out. Some security guard, noticed that Jason Bottom, John Bottom's son, had this sign that he took off some door there.
Right.
I know it was a bathroom sign or a caution sign or whichever, and the security guard hit Jason for doing that.
Wow.
Word got out. Word got out to John Bottom and Peter Grant. They went and found the security guard that struck Bottom's son, took him in this room, and when Grant and Bottom came out, there was some blood on the walls there.
Wow.
Yeah, you don't want to fuck with Peter Grant,
No.
never, because this guy was a kid, and you know what? He was brought in originally to manage the new Yardbirds.
Right.
When their manager decided to actually the Yardbirds when he before it became Zeppelin there he was brought in because the manager was getting tired. He would decided to pass off duties to Peter Grant there, and I guess he was forewarned about Jimmy Page there being a smartass, you know and turns out Grant and Page hit it off.
Yeah. That I think we covered that when we did the Yardbirds, didn't we?
I think so. Yes, we did.
Yeah. Because we did an hour on the Yardbirds.
Absolutely, yeah.
Easy to do.
Yeah, absolutely. It was there.
Okay, Jays. I
Okay.
have one.
All right.
Julian Lennon.
Oh my goodness. The subject behind Hey Jude.
Yeah.
Paul wrote that song for Julian Lennon because, as you know, his parents were going through a divorce at that time, and I guess it was his way of saying "Don't let it get to you" or something like that. Let her under your skin. I guess the new woman and his father's life being Yoko.
Yeah.
And I guess, and people really took that song in the wrong way because they think of that letter into your skin. They're talking about in drugs or heroin and stuff like that.
Right.
Not so. It was written for Julian. And you gotta feel bad for Julian when you think about it there, because at times various interviews he said that Paul did most of the raising other than his father.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when
Wasn't
and then
his
when
one song Velat?
yes, Volate, I think it was pronounced there. That came out in '84. He had another one called "Too Late for Goodbyes."
Yeah.
Had a couple of their minor hits soon afterwards, and then he just faded away. I guess now he earns his revenue by as a photographer. I guess there. And sad thing about this is that deep down inside, he must have been resentful towards Sean Lennon because Sean got most of the attention from his father, other than
Right.
Julian.
Right.
And it's like deep down in an interview, he said, it's good that Sean, has got lots of attention there, but why couldn't that have been me as well?
Yeah. Isn't it funny how many stories like this come from the 80s?
Yeah.
It's
And
kind of
later on
weird,
throughout the
actually.
90s as well, yeah. And like, or in the 2000s.
Yeah.
Like in the 2000s, we found out that John himself was not too as kind to his first wife, Cynthia.
Yeah.
It's like, and that makes us question. Hearing stuff like that makes us question Lennon as a person. I mean, like, geez, you treated your first like total crap. You often called handicapped people in wheelchairs cripples, and
Yeah.
and yet you turn around years later, and you're like preaching, world peace and that, love your fellow brother, love your fellow man, and it's like, I can't really put into words when it comes to that subject there.
Yeah,
But
we could spend an hour on all this.
yeah, then here's someone else I'd bring up there who kind of like kind of question, you know, Ted Nugent.
Yeah.
Back in the days with the Amboy Dukes, he dodged the draft instead of serving. And
Yeah.
now today, so giving praise to all the American the soldiers, men and women overseas, and in the armed forces there. Back then, I guess, but then again, back then you were supposed to avoid the draft at all costs there. And apparently, he talks about family values now, but back in those days, he fathered a couple kids with two women and didn't marry neither of them.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, the one thing that I kind of admired about him was, boy, if you used drugs, you weren't a member of any of the things he did.
Yeah, it's true there. Although he did admit one time in an interview that he did smoke weed with the MC5 for one time there until his stepdad came in and just chewed his ass out for that.
Yeah. And it's funny because, well, now we're getting into stories, but he thought Journey to the Center of the Mind was
Yeah,
about,
I know. I remember you mentioned that there, and all of a sudden you found out it was about expanding your mind progress. And no, it's about smoking like smoking weed. It's about smoking opium. Okay, so I won't do that song no more there.
yeah,
Yep, and we all know the story about that, and plus the album cover which that song came from there.
yeah. Okay, that was the J's.
Yeah.
K's. Kacha
Okay.
Goo.
Oh, okay.
Kacha. I don't know how to
Kaja
pronounce.
Gugu.
Yeah,
Yeah, Kaja Gugu. And you know, I I wasn't really a big fan of Too Shy, that one song they had together.
right.
But I guess when they got rid of Lamal, their frontman, that's when they decided, a change and go towards a more different kind of direction there. The one album I had from them, around this time they shortened their name to just Kaja.
hmm
They had an album back in 1985 called Crazy People's Right to Speak, which I picked up accidentally for about $2 at a nearby independent record store called Record Time, and I listened to it. I was like, "Holy cow, this is a damn good record."
Yeah, back in the day, I used to pick albums up. Well, you didn't have anything kind of internet or anything like that, just the
Yep,
radio.
yep.
And
Now MTV.
well, for me, I didn't have MTV,
Ah, oh wow.
but
So it was just the radio then.
60s,
Mm.
and I used to pick albums up because I thought the covers were cool.
Yeah, that was the unique. That was the thing about album covers back then. If the album cover was interesting, the music inside of it would be as well.
And then I would discover things.
Yep.
It was a voyage of discovery.
It was, man.
Or I heard a
It
song I
was.
liked on the radio and I'd look for the album.
Yeah, absolutely there.
Okay,
And now these days with the streaming services, we don't really have that the album covers out there. No, not that much. But then again, we still have vinyl.
true.
There's two. We have two Taylor Swift releases out there that are brand new, and they're both available on vinyl, which is good because people need to discover vinyl. But they also need to go to the independent vinyl shops and discover the other stuff that this particular
Right.
artist came out with.
Yeah. But it was interesting because I know of instances where I bought an album because thought the cover was cool. I played it and was like, oh, I got to get more. And I'd go out and buy
Abs-
their catalog.
yep, it was
Yes is a good example of that.
absolutely. Oh yeah. Shout out to Roger Dean.
Okay.
And
Next one I got. Um,
by the way, Lamal and Kaja Google got back to the big story about that. Lamal getting booted out from Kaja Google. He said he'll never sound like me. Never sound like the band without me in it. He was so hurt. I can't believe they would do this. He was like that, and sadly, Kaja would not repeat that success as Kaja, of course, with the two
mhm.
records they put it out there. One of them that I just mentioned, but the bass player and fill-in singer Nick Beggs, he would go on to perform with various other groups there. At one point, he played along with John Paul Jones when they opened up for King Crimson
Hmm.
when I saw at the Royal Oak Music Theater back in 2001. And he was playing what was called the war guitar there, where you play it like a keyboard there. Look it up on the internet and you see what I'm talking about there. That's one badass instrument. It's even more badass to even learn to play when you think about it there. And it's like when I heard about it recently that it was him playing that, I was like, son of a bitch, I could have said hi to the guy because he did a phenomenal job on bass guitar and vocals and lyrics on that one Kaja Gugu album. Crazy People's Right to Speak. I was like, son of a name god. If I would have known, that's like, one of those things you don't realize at the last minute there.
Oh, yeah.
Huh.
I'm tempted. Well, I am.
Go ahead.
I'm just going to mention the next one, but I'm tempted to skip him entirely because
Mm.
we've talked about him in disparagingly, to say the least.
Oh yeah.
Kid Rock.
Oh my gosh. He was in he was in
Actually,
the
the
night.
90s, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. His first record came out in the 1990. It was a rap record called Grits Sandwiches for Breakfast. And this kid at the time on the album cover and a couple publicity photos, he had the biggest eraser head haircut of all. That hair would go way up there, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And
I'm trying to sit here and
this
think.
guy who tried to run for Senate?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of if there was any song that I liked enough to play, you know.
No. I used to get sick and tired of hearing them about them when I was in Richmond, Michigan. They'll be playing him on the jukebox, people doing his songs in karaoke, and Kid Rock this, Kid Rock that,
Yeah.
American Badass, that song he did with Sheryl Crow. I couldn't stand for shit. And I'm sorry, I'm not into Kid Rock. I don't like Kid Rock. To me, he was floozy. He was like he started out as a rapper. He sang about anal sex. He sang about going down on some girls there, and yet now he's all American badass, America number one, like this and that. There, I realize he could change your tune a little bit there, but
Yeah.
still,
But
you know,
radically.
absolutely there. I'm a redneck who hard driving. I listen to Leonard Skinner. I listen to ZZ Top, and I'll also listen to Run DMC. Give me a break.
Yeah.
Give me a
Yeah.
break. Back then, you tried to be Run DMC in general.
Yeah. Let's go on. I had enough of Kid Rock.
So am I.
Kingdom Come.
Oh my God. Oh man. Lenny Wolf and the boys.
Yeah.
Lenny Wolf, who I remember, you remember, I did a review of his previous band, Stone Fury. You know, it's on my channel right now as well. There, um, they were called Kingdom Clone by Jimmy Page because their song "Get It On" and another one, a follow-up single,
Yeah.
often was compared to Led Zeppelin.
Right.
If Zeppelin would have reunited back in 1988, then they would sadly sound like what Kingdom Come would sound like.
Yeah.
But the people, I guess, I don't know if that damaged the band's reputation or what it was, but they come out with a second record, and I guess that didn't do too well there. I don't know if it was the comparisons to the Zeppelin
Well, I kind
was
of
what
like to
it.
get it on.
Yeah, it was. It was a good song there, but so many people were coming down hard on 'em because of the Zeppelin comparisons.
Yeah.
I mean, Jimmy Page, as I mentioned, called them Kingdom clone. Robert Plant didn't have any kind words for them as well. Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden in an interview said, when I heard that song they did, I was absolutely furious. Come up with your own agenda, your own styles, come up with your own identity, not follow somebody else's there.
Right.
And I agree on that subject pretty much well. Of course, nowadays the band to do succeed that task would be a band from Frankenmuth, Michigan, Greta Van Fleet.
Right. But a
Uh,
lot of times people blame it on the bands, but
yep,
it's not so much the band as it is.
the
Right.
producers or the label managements there got
Because
to
a
keep
lot of
that.
groups don't want to sound like other groups. They
That's
either
true
want
as well.
their own distinctive sound,
Yeah,
or if they're going to sound like another group, let's do one of their songs.
absolutely. Or trying to sound like one of their songs. Let me give you another example. Ministry. Now we all know the songs NWO, Just One Fix, Stigmata, The Land of Rape and Honey. There was the raging guitars, screamy vocals, samples from the movies like Platoon being played throughout the song, fast-paced drum machines going to this 20 miles per minute there.
Right.
Yeah, songs like Breathe, Thieves, So What, still played on the Gothic rock, still played on the Gothic industrial clubs to this very day, believe it or not. Back in 1983, they debuted with an album called With Sympathy, which the song Revenge was frequently played on the old MTV.
Right.
The sound at that time was kind of like somewhat more darker Human League type of sound there. But that was, Al Jorgensen, the band behind Ministry, said that record was like doing that like with a gun against your head because at that time, the record label was coming down hard. And you got to sound like this, you got to sound like that, you got to still do this, you got to sound that there,
Yeah, that
and
group
there
was
were.
a hit for that record company. Do something like it.
Yeah, absolutely there. And Jorgensen would later go on to claim that album as an abortion of an
Mm.
album. And just now, recently, he is now starting to embrace that one record. Whereas in the past, he would talk about, go to the record store, find that album, shoplift it, don't buy it, shoplift it, and just compare that piece of shit to what the stuff we're doing now.
Right.
You know, and
There's more than a few groups that feel that way about some of their releases.
absolutely there it is. But then again, at that time, that was the way to go. If you want to make it big, you got to follow on. Like, you remember when YR was on the show? He was explaining that to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I guess he does have a point when he talks about that. Like pop singers have to follow along with like another. Let me give you another example. The
Okay.
word shorty. Back in the early 2000s, that started out the ATL hip hop scene. Shorty is a term for a good-looking female. Hey, Shorty, what's your number? Can I have it, baby? And rappers like Snoop Dogg, who came out years before the ATL scene, they were starting to use that word into their songs there. Every other R&B singer was using that word. Hey, shorty, hi, what are you doing? I'm at the mall and I want to see you tonight. I'm at the mall thinking about you. And all that gobbledygook
Oh
there.
man.
It's precisely, man. But that word had to with I guess the record labels and the managements, the handlers, like you got to include this word in these lyrics here. But want the people today to embrace you.
Right.
That's how it is. It's just and ah, Killdozer says, Earl, have you read Al's book from a few years back? I didn't know Al Jorgensen put out a book. I guess I gotta go to the nearby bookstore and check it out there.
Yeah, as long as I don't know how long it's been out, it might be available in half price if you got any of those down there.
Oh yeah, I see there. Yeah, we'll have to. Well, we have a Barnes and Noble nearby where we live, so I'll definitely see if they still have it there.
And if they don't, like I said, check out half price books and records
All right, nice. Good to hear there.
because they get well. You're hit and miss on those, but if you get lucky, it's you know. I think that's how I found Pink Floyd's "A Saucer Full of Secrets" is there.
Oh, oh, nice.
I saw that and I said, "Dang, I got to have that."
Oh yeah, yeah,
Okay, next one I got is another group they had one song I really liked.
yeah.
The Kings.
Oh my
Don't
goodness, I
ask me the
know,
name of the song.
I know. I think I know. I think what's sing This beat goes on, switching the glide.
Switching to Glide. Love that
Switching.
song.
Oh man, gosh, that, that was the only big hit from that. That was played ferociously back in Detroit radio back in the day. There,
But that was a great song.
it was both great songs there, and I remember the album it came from. It was called "The Kings Are Here."
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if they ever came. I don't know what happened to that group there. I don't know if
I
they
don't know
just
either because
broke
I
up.
only know
I
of
know.
one or
You know what?
two
I'm gonna
albums.
look that up. Now that you got me intrigued there, I'm
Yeah.
gonna find this
How
here.
can you have such a great song and do nothing else?
Okay, the Kings rock band. Here we go. There.
Well, you
All
got
right,
the
it should be
book's
coming.
title, by the way.
Ah, yes, I know. It's called The Lost Gospel. Thank you, dude. All right. The Kings are a Canadian rock band formed in '77 in Oakville, Ontario. They're both best known for their song from 1980 called "This Beat Goes On, Switching the Glide."
And in some cases, Switching to Glide was pulled separately. But
Uh,
again, that was a case of the two
the
songs kind
radio
of went
edit.
together.
Absolutely. That's how it usually did it. And sometimes they'll mix an intro to another song right after before this other song ends there.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine separating Foreplay Long Time by Boston.
No. Well, they did that. Well, they did that for the single version of Long Time. They just started with the organ building up there and just started on right there.
Nah, never gonna get that single.
I know. I'm surprised 45s haven't made a comeback yet.
That's true. But then again, a lot of times songs got cut
That's true.
to make it to the single. Although the Beatles insisted "Hey Jude" not get cut, so it's a
That's true there.
7-minute single.
Absolutely there. And that the longest single on any 40 song? Excuse me, let me rephrase that. Is that the longest song on the 45 or am I
That would be interesting to find out. I would
yeah,
think that it is, but I don't know.
I don't know.
Now I do
Good
know
question
that
there.
before that, Creedence Clearwater had Susie Q, which is about an 8-minute song or eight and a
Yeah.
half minute. But
Yeah.
they had Susie Q Part One on side one. Flip it over, you had Part Two. So it
All
was
right.
there on the same single,
They
but
said
separated.
they said that you know what? They did the same thing with American Pie.
Yep. Which by that song should never have been cut.
I know, yeah. But then again, you got to remember the length of vinyl at
Yeah.
that time, whether it's 33 or 45.
Yep.
And by the way, the band, the Kings they were discussing, they're still together.
Wow.
Apparently, I'm looking at some of their images,
Well,
and yes, they
basically, I
have.
guess they're in Canada, and that's the reason.
Yeah.
Because for some reason, unless you're just super mega whatever,
Hmm.
Canadian bands don't make it in the States other than Rush and, three or four others that we've talked about.
I am. A lot of people. It's hard to believe that. Here's another example of that. Two examples: the Tragically Hip and Max Webster.
And
Now,
let's
Max.
let's add Chili Whack to that.
Yeah, absolutely, because you know those bands were massive, had massive crowds in the Canada there, but here in the States, it's like they'll play a. They're kind of like you. They don't have that much of a following.
Yeah, they play little venues,
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
bowling
like
alleys,
I think
bars.
I've mentioned this. I mentioned this story before there at the shelter in downtown Detroit. Some guy from Canada was like, "Yeah." I asked if they have any. He said, he asked if they have any tragically hip, and it's like, wow, back in Canada, there, it's like a major crime. Because can he? What, bleh, I'm fumbling my words again, folks. Because I understand Canadians do stick together
Right.
in entertainment, sports, and friendships, and that they back one another up.
For the most part.
Yeah. All right.
I can think of a few examples where it's not necessarily so, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't want to get into any of that.
Well, I do know. Well, I got to I'm just thinking now about the time when Bret the Hitman Hart came out during the WCW Monday Nitro, and the pop he was got from his home country of Canada was humongous.
Oh yeah,
Because this particular taping was in Toronto.
right.
Yeah, because either way, he's Canadian. He's a hero.
Yep.
Yep,
Okay, next one I got, which I like the Kings, is Knack,
the neck. Oh my
My
goodness.
Sharona.
Oh my god, my let me out. Baby talks dirty. Other get the neck. Was it the next idea or Capitol Records idea to have them marketed as the next Beatles with their album covers and everything?
I would generally think that's Capital.
I would think, or probably both.
It could, well, they had to semi approve it, you
I
know,
know, I guess so. But I guess what it was,
or play the part or
the
whatever.
first record, Get the Knack, was the kind of like style. It's kind of like it was styled somewhere like the Beatles' first album. In the
Almighty
UK,
One
it
saw
was.
your shirt.
I know, yes. Thank you, Almighty One. Glad you liked it, man. And the thing that gets me about the what the neck was that they were trying to, I guess they were trying to be the next Beatles or what the fuck. But
Yeah,
the
kind of
first
like
record,
Oasis.
yeah. But the thing is, the neck kind of like did a better version of it, I guess you would say,
Yeah,
because in terms of the album cover, the front and back there, in terms of the look, the skinny jeans, white
right,
long sleeve shirts, and the ties there.
right.
You know, and it's safe to say that My Sharona made a kind of a comeback in 1994 thanks to that movie Reality Bites with Winona Ryder in it.
Yeah.
And what's kind of funny is that Doug Feiger, the singer and guitarist from that group, his brother Jeffrey Feiger is one of the most well-respected, sought-after lawyers in Michigan.
Huh.
And in fact, Jeffrey Feiger was the representative of Dr. Jack Kevorkian for many years. Dr. Death himself. Look him up on the Wikipedia, folks, to see what I'm talking about there. This man really had the hospital system, healthcare system, really up with their hands up in the air with what he was doing there.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, and go ahead, Ark.
Okay, let's see. Well, I guess we can dip into the L's.
All right.
First one I got here is Lenny Kravitz, and I don't think he was 80s. I think he was more like 90s.
Well, I guess. Well, he started out in '88, if I remember. There, he
Well, I guess
had that
technically
one.
it's 80s then.
Yes, it was. Yeah, he had that one record called "Let Love Rule." There, it was a
Yeah,
retro hippy dippy sound. This guy was like this is the man that kind of like turned Lisa Bonet, Cosby Kid, into a hippie herself. There,
yeah. Well, I know
I
that
get.
did a decent version of American Woman, but I still like the Guess Who's
Yeah, I
version
remember
better.
that. That was for the second Austin Powers movie. There.
And then what? Fly Away.
Yeah, so it was. Yeah, that was in '95. There,
Yeah,
and that's when he cut his dreads there to merge with that new look.
yeah. I mean, he did some decent stuff.
Yeah, I'm pretty much there. He had that song called "Believe," I guess, which kind of like the video for that song was kind of like a shout out to 2001: The Space Odyssey. When you look at that video there,
Yeah, which that's a weird movie.
still would, but the
If we were still
weird.
doing our movies, we'd have to get that one.
Absolutely, we got to talk about the hell. We just probably could do an episode devoted to that movie, period,
Well, that's what
altogether,
I mean. If
because
we got back into
that
movies,
was the Star Wars of that time.
yeah, I mean, it was one of those movies you just kind of sat there and go, okay,
Wow.
I just saw this movie, but I have no idea what's going on.
That's why there's so many. I cannot count how many theory videos there are about that movie, along with Stanley Kubrick's version of The Shining, the Stephen King novel.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, well, if we ever get out of the music, we can go back into movies and TV,
Absolutely, there.
but it's going to be a long time before we get out of the
Yeah,
music.
yeah, it's true because we got a couple decades ago there,
Well, we won't do much in the 2000s and
'90s
beyond,
or the '90s there.
but we still have Prague.
That's true. Yeah, we got to talk about Prague and R&B acts as well. We got to touch up on some. There were some R&B acts out there in the that really do deserve a mention.
Yeah, I mean, in some cases, we mentioned them in the decades they played, but it would be nicer to devote an entire show to them.
Absolutely, that's what I'm talking about there. Definitely, there's a lot of R&B acts out there that really deserve a lot of credit. Freddie Jackson, Luther Vandross, Sly and the Family Stone, the Gap Band, Rick James,
Yeah,
Prince.
but we're not doing that now.
I know we're still doing the '80s there.
Okay, next one I got. They had one song I like, but I don't know of anything else. There might be others.
Yeah,
Lifehouse.
Lifehouse. No, that's early
The
2000s.
hanging by something, hanging on the moment. I don't remember the
Hanging
name
on
of the song.
Lifehouse. Hanging by a
Lifehouse.
thread.
No, I think it's. I don't remember
Hanging
the
on a
name of
heart.
this.
Um, the only Lifehouse I know was an early 2000s act. They had was like a soft rock act that kind of appealed to the Wallflowers crowd there.
Yeah, it could be this group. I have no idea. I only know the
hmm
one song, and I
And
kind of liked it.
you know the song was it "Hanging on a Thread" or something like that? Hanging
it.
on a Heartache.
It was hanging on something, but I don't remember what.
Hanging on,
And you don't have enough
hanging on,
guys in the chat to tell us.
hanging by a moment.
I was going to say, if you look up Lifehouse, you probably get the Pete Townsend project, and that wasn't it.
Um,
Um,
the band Lifehouse. I know what you're talking about. That song. Um, like I said, they were often played. There was a 2000s group there.
right. But that song was played a lot. And like I said, I combine 80s, 90s, and 2000s because to me it's kind of
Ah,
like one big,
Mosh.
yeah.
Because the one I'm looking up right here is "Hanging by a Moment."
Yeah, that's the song.
Ah, and that song came out. And let's see here. Um, let's see here. Blah blah blah. It's an alternative song by a band called Lifehouse. It was the first single released on their debut studio album.
Yeah. Like I said, I kind of
And,
like that song, but I don't know of anything else they did.
well, I did a couple others thing called couple others that one of the stations back in Michigan used to play there, which I was not a fan of that whole station to begin with.
Yeah. But the
I won't
next,
say this. I won't. I don't remember the station's current call letters, but back then when you first started out, they were known as WHYT, hit
hmm,
music, you know, and that's
yeah,
and what years throughout the 80's, it was a top 40 radio station. Then in the 90s, when the 1990s started, with the gangster rap scene came along, became 90 something jams, but they were always, but it was the same songs over and
right.
over, whether it's Dr. Dre, Salt and Pepper, Ice Cube, the same stuff over and over and over. Then it later became The Planet, which they played alternative music like Blink 182 or some of the stuff Duran Duran was doing at that time, or bands like alternative stuff there.
Right.
And that station, I couldn't stand that station. I never listened. Now it became they changed their call letters, and now it's goes by somebody DV or something there.
Well,
But
generally, almost all radio stations have a playlist that's very short.
playlists, and they have to keep playing those songs,
Right.
like to keep the people listening, to keep the sheep in line.
Yeah, it's hard to find a station that varies. Do you have Sirius?
No,
They have a couple of stations there that do vary. They got a couple that are deep tracks, and they do play some deep stuff,
well,
which I can go with that.
all right there. But the thing is, knowing me, I'm one of those deep cut type of guys. I'd like to hear the deep stuff, no matter what.
Right, and I'm good with that. Keep playing me some deep stuff.
Right?
And the next two L's I got, we'll just mention their names because I don't think either one of us like them.
Yep.
Limp Bizkit and Linkin Park.
Oh gosh. Okay. I'm sorry.
Let's go.
Yeah. We already discussed those groups. Never liked rap metal then. I don't like it now.
Yeah, I mean the way that even forget which one did it, but the way they screwed up Behind Blue
Yep.
Eyes, it was
Limp
like,
Bizkit. Yep.
no,
Yep.
you did that. I don't like you
Yep.
because it
Precisely.
didn't
Well,
even do
never
the
liked them
bridge.
either when they first came out. I just I'll be honest with you. I could not stand those jungle jeans. What is JNCO? I guess it's spelled there. But they were these massive pants that just went out the way there. And I just couldn't stand. Me, a girlfriend used just make fun of those pants every time we saw them. Of course, at that time, that was the thing back then. I missed it. That was the new metal kids. That's what the kids were wearing at that time. I'm sorry, they look like dipshit pants. Okay, they look like potato sacks.
So people wear, oh, I don't know, tinfoil shirts. That's okay.
But better keep quiet, dude. They'll start doing that most likely, knowing
Oh, what am I doing?
how much sheep we got out there.
Yeah.
All right, so carrying on.
The last L, and then we'll call it a night and
All
move to
right there.
Thursday.
All right there. Yes.
And actually, it's a good one to close on in a way. I kind of
All
like
right.
at least one song they did.
Hmm.
Uh, Living Color.
Oh man. Which
I like
speaking
Cult
of
of
which,
Personality.
which by the way, as we know, there's a new video version of that song. It's the theme music for CM Punk, who we were talking about earlier. There, that's been his theme music when he was with the WWE, and it's still his theme music now.
Yep.
And when that song played at that start of that AEW program, played, dude. You watch that video, the pop that the audience gave him when he came out when that song started playing. Audience was like fucking nuts.
Yeah, now
Fucking
he's going
nuts.
to have to
Back up, of
back
course
it
he's
up.
gonna. Yeah, absolutely. Which I imagine he'll probably do because he's one of the few wrestlers out there that don't do drugs. Unlike
Right.
every other wrestler out there, whether it's Jake the Snake or British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith, or Shawn Michaels or Jeff Hardy there.
Well, actually, his opponent, I think you told me, was Sting. Never
Yes,
did them.
absolutely. Never did him well. Of course, which is good as well because seeing Steve Borden, the man who plays Sting in the ring,
Yeah,
he's a Christian there, along
right.
with Shawn Michaels and Vince Russo there. You know, they got off doing. I don't think
And
they.
I will say this to anyone that'll hear me is I like Vince Russo.
Yeah,
I
I
think
do
he's a
like him too.
stand-up guy.
Yeah, he is. I guess, but it's just that the ideas that he had when he joined WCW were not mixing with the head honchos who ran WCW.
Yeah, and I don't blame him for that, even though some of, well, almost all of those hacks that write the news didn't like him. But
Now they were mad. They were mad because he was the one who made the Attitude Era for the WWF successful, but it had to include some profanity here and there in the promos and their segments. It had to include some bra and panties matches, which upset all the feminists out there. And of course, it basically tried to make it something like the Jerry Springer show when you look at it there with this idea, that idea there.
yeah,
But in all, you also got to remember that, you know, they were trying to fit in what was going on at that period of time. I mean,
they were in tune
say
with the
the scene,
society,
absolutely, and plus you also got to remember
which
the
that's a
word
big problem with now, is they're nowhere near in tune.
absolutely. Back then, the word corporation was like the ultimate C word.
Yeah,
Because back then it was like corporations about taking over companies, putting mom and pop shops out of business there, taking over the world. I mean, look how much flack Woodstock 94 and Woodstock 99 got when they had sponsorships from Pepsi and all that.
right. It was kind of like a slap in the face to Woodstock
Yep. It was
69.
Woodstock 69, yes. Every company, I mean, the first Detroit music, actually, Detroit DEMF back in 2000, it was corporate free. But then Ford Motor Companies, got involved in it, and it became a Focus. It's like and then it became the Focus Detroit Electronic Music Festival because
Yeah,
Ford was sponsoring it.
yeah. I know that when Woodstock 69 happened, I was 19,
Yeah,
but it wasn't a big thing until after.
yeah,
In other words, it was not one of those things that at the time you
yeah.
realized, wow,
That was a
it's,
big thing back then, and we missed out on it.
yeah, because they had other festivals happening at the same time. You and I
Yeah,
talked about, they
yeah.
had
The
one here
All
in
Not.
Texas.
Yeah, the
I told you
Texas.
about that one.
Yes, I remember. Let's also not forget the Isle of Wight, but in the UK there,
Yeah,
and of course the disastrous Aldmont,
right. Yeah,
Aldmont there,
Altamont.
Aldmont. Yeah.
Yeah, which that one kind of put an end to the festivals.
Oh man, kind of somewhat in a lot of ways. I guess until the California Jam came back
Yeah,
in the
and that
'60s
was
there.
actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've seen any of the videos, the two that stand, well, three, because Black Sabbath was there too,
Mm-hmm.
uh, was Deep Purple
Mm-hmm. Yes.
and Emerson, Lake
Where
and Palmer.
Yes, I remember seeing various clips from those two bands up there, especially Deep Purple when Richie Blackford busted three guitars and blew up one of his amplifiers.
Yeah, I mean, he put on a show. And then Emerson, Lake and Palmer, if you've ever seen their Carnival 9 from that,
Yep.
it
Hmm.
was an
And
entire
plus
show, an
the
episode.
flying piano.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
That was
folks, there is
amazing.
a scene from their performance where Keith Emerson straps himself to the thing there where he sits on. He's playing the piano, and the piano is rotating around and around with him strapped into it.
Yep, raised up and rotated. And I
Wow,
believe that clip is
unbelievable!
available on YouTube.
It's still there. It's still. I remember seeing it one time. Check it out, everybody there.
I mean, it's kind of like, and he doesn't miss a note, and he's sitting there
Absolute,
flying. And of
absolute.
course,
Yeah, no.
you watch any Emerson, Lake and Palmer show, you're going to see him do some stuff.
crazy shit to his kid, one of his organs there. That's for sure. There.
Yeah, stabbing it with knives,
Yes, I saw that as well. There.
picking
Yeah.
it up and down, dropping it.
Bam.
Well,
Bam. Boom. Bam.
I mean, it's quite a little show to watch.
Of course, years later in '87, we would have a rotating drum kit on stage, thanks to Tom
Right.
and Lee and Motley Crue.
Well, Palmer did it too.
Yeah, oh yeah, no surprise there. Wow.
I don't remember exactly where, but I know he had it in one of his
I got to
bits.
look that up, that's for sure, man.
But Carl Palmer did that too.
Wow, man.
It was almost like Greg Lake was just there. He did, but
Look, not
phenomenal singer.
like he is a phenomenal musician as well.
Yeah,
He's
and
like,
actually, he's
how
a
come
great
I'm not
bass player and
rotating?
a great guitar player.
Yeah, so yeah, he did a lot of good guitar licks there.
Still, well, now we're getting into the prog. Not yet.
I
We'll get there.
but still. But we're giving a taste to everybody out there what we're talking about. Definitely look at all this shit up that we're discussing on
We will
YouTube if you can.
probably spend an hour on Emerson, Lake and Palmer. We
Absolutely.
will probably spend an hour on Yes. We will probably spend an hour on King Crimson.
Yep.
Those three for sure.
And
In
the
Kansas,
Kansas, the early Genesis.
right? Yeah, we'll kind of touch on the later Genesis.
Yeah, absolutely there.
Well, the first couple of three albums with Phil Collins were in the line, but then they went pop on us.
Yeah, it's true there. Thanks to the album Duke
Yeah,
and the song Misunderstanding there,
yeah,
which kind of like gave a detail what Collins was going through at that time with his wife.
right. And I guess that it's time to
Is it?
end the stream now that we've got people looking hopefully forward.
All right, there. Yeah. All right, so that'll be it. And now we're going to resume this on, of course, this coming Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern time. There, as always, there. And of
An hour
course,
early.
hope an hour earlier, the way we usually do, and hopefully we'll be able to do Real Swag TV because, as you know, I found out at the last minute there was going to be no show there. As you know,
Right.
we were still on the air when they found out there.
Yeah.
So
And if you ever get any other time off, we'll delve into some of the other stuff, like if we can get hold of Ashley.
Little Ashley there. You know what? You know what? I'm hoping this girl starts streaming soon there on Twitch there, because she hasn't done that in about a week.
Okay.
Because I want to find what I go. It's been a while since we had some good conversations, whether it's about wrestling, Star Wars, and everything else there.
Yeah, I was going to say, in a sense, I could probably educate her a little bit, maybe. Although I'm sure she's read up on it from what I gather.
Yeah.
So she'd probably know what I was talking about, just wasn't
Yeah.
there. And, we'd still got the movies and TV shows that we need to think
Dive
about.
into, yeah. There was a bunch that we wasn't able to touch up on, because
Yeah, we had a pretty lengthy list of them that we wanted to do. But it's just something to look forward to in the future.
I know we will do it, which we will do as well.
Yep.
Okay, that will do it for this episode of Arknolia and the Doctor, our Music Memories series. We'll be back once again this coming Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, followed by my simulcast with Real Swag TV.
Yeah.
And for Arknolia and myself, this is been episode 56.
Actually, I think it's 7.
Actually, 57. You're right, 57. You're right. Duh. Okay. All
That's
right.
okay. Nobody's going to.
Yeah. I wasn't able to. Never mind. I might as well shut up there. All right, and we will see you this coming Thursday, folks.
We'll see you guys in the chat, too, and the guys that'll listen to it later.
All right. All right. Have a good one.
All right.
Take care.
Bye
Have
now.
a good Monday evening. Bye-bye. All right. Definitely a great show we did.